Hello, friends. Today we are going to see a topic in human computer interaction. Basically, what is the interaction between human and computer, which comes under a customer and user's information. So, in the aspect of the human computer interaction, we are going to see what is the human an aspect of this HCA. So, here are the list what is the information of input and output devices. IO is nothing but input output devices we are using. So, these are visual, auditory, haptic, and movement. So, information stored in memory, sensory memory, short term memory, and long term memory. So basically, in these three memories only will be the everything we are seeing, hearing, or the touch sensation we are having will be stored. So information processed and applied. So after the information are stored, we will be processing it using and apply that processed information to reasoning, problem solving, skill, and errors. Basically, human have different types of emotions which influences people. So each person is different and each emotion will be different and the output of this also will be different, which are the touch, hear, and visual of the aspect of the human computer interaction. So, here, there are two stages in vision: physical reception of stimulus and processing and interpretation of stimulus. So, in the aspect of visual, here we see the eye, which are physical reception, mechanism for receiving light and transforming it into electrical energy, so that only we can see light and see the images which are occurring opposite to our eyes. Then it will always in the upper down side in the retina, so that only we can see it in the straight and upside down images of before of our source. Then mechanism for our receiving light and uh, transformation into electrical energy. Light reflects from objects and image are focused from upside down on retina, and retina contains rods for low light vision and cones for color vision. Ganglion cells are also called as brain, detect pattern and movement of these touch, hear, and sense visionary senses. So, while interpreting the signal, size and depth. Visual occupies the angle indicates how much of view object occupies, relates to size and different distance from eye. So, normally visual activity is the ability to perceive in detail, which are always limited. We also know that familiar objects perceived as constant sizes. So, in spite of changes in visual angle when we far away, so cues like overlapping help perception of size and depth and brightness. So, without any brightness, we can't see the faces or images which are standing in front of us will not be clearly. So, subjective reaction to levels of light affected by luminance object measured by just noticeable differences. Visual activity increases with luminance, does flicker. And color. Color made up of hue, intensity, saturation. Cones sensitive to color wavelengths. We also know that and black accuracy is lowest, 8% for males and 1% are females or colorblind. These are all from the senses. Then, visual system competes for movement and change in luminance. Based on that, the interpreting signal will be given to the brains. So, context is used to resolve ambiguity. Optical illusions sometimes occur due to overcompensation. So, these are all the two types of optical illusions we have induced into this human computer interaction component. So, the Muller layer illusion. One is coming inwards and another one is going outwards. But in terms of points of illusion, it is like a ladder like illusion, which I've mentioned prior. And in terms of reading, visual pattern perceived, decoded using internal representation of language, interpreted using knowledge of syntax, semantics, and programmatics. So, reading involves saccades and fixations. Perception occurs during fixations. Word shape is important to recognition. Negative contrast improve reading from computer screen. And in terms of hearing, provides information about environment, so which are distance, direction, and object, etc. In the physical apparatus or outer ear, which protects the inner and amplifies the sound of the ear. And in the middle ear, transmit the sound waves into vibration to inner ear. And in the inner ear, where with the chemical transmitter are released and cause impulses in the auditory nerve. And for the sound, pitch comes with the aspect of sound frequencies, and the loudness comes for amplitude of the sound. And in the timbre, it's a type or quality of the sound. So, hearing, human can hear frequencies from 20 Hz to 15 Hz, less accurate, distinguishing the high frequencies than the low frequencies. So, auditory system filters sound, can attend to sound over background noise. For example, a party phenomenon. So, in terms of touch, in the human computer interaction, provides important feedback about the environment, may be key sense for someone who is usually impaired. So, stimulus received via reporters in the skin. So, thermoceptors, nociceptors, and mesoceptors. Heat and cold will be comes under thermoceptors. In nociceptors, a pain will be measured, and in mechonoceptors, pressure, some instant and some continuous, will be measured through touch sensation. And some areas are more sensitive than others. For example, fingers. Awareness of body position affects comfort and performance is called kinesthesis. In terms of movement of the body or movement which takes place in the body, time taken to respond to stimulus is equals to reaction time plus movement time. So movement time depend on age, fitness, etc. The reaction time depends on stimulus type, which are visual will be reacted through 20 milliseconds and auditory will be reacted to 150 milliseconds, and through pain it will be reacted at 17 milliseconds, 700 milliseconds. So increasing reaction time decreases accuracy in the unskilled operator but not in the skilled operator. So in terms of movement condition, we state a law, that is Fitts law describes the time taken to hit the screen target, which is mt equal to a plus b log 2 of t by s by plus 1. Here, a and b are empirically determined constants. We also know that an mt is the movement time here, and d denotes its distance, and s is the size of the target. So, as long as the target is large, and the distance will be as small as small. So, in terms of memory, there are three types of memory functions, which are sensory memory, short term memory, and long term memory. And in terms of sensory memory to short term memory, attention will be needed to get what is happening. And in terms of short term or long term memory, that needs to be followed in a routine to register it in the long term memory. And for example, sensory memory, iconic memory, echoic memory, and haptic memory received through senses visual, aural, and tactile. So, in short term memory, scratch pad for temporary recall, rapid access, rapid decay, and limited capacity through rapid access through 17 milliseconds and rapid decay to 200 milliseconds. And in terms of long term memory, repository of all our knowledge, slow access 1 by 10 second, and slow decay if any huge or unlimited capacity occurred. And there are types in the long term memory which are episodic, serial memory of events. Like it will be done through a part of lifetime, and it will be always, we will be remembered through the end of our life. And in terms of semantic skills, structured are facts or concepts that we are learning through the like education. It comes under semantic skills. So semantic long term memory derived from episodic long term memory, because episodic long term memory contains emotions of the particular human who is taking care of them memory, or a person's memory. So, in terms of semantic memory structure, provides access to information, represents relationship between bits of information, and support inference. And in terms of semantic memory, inheritance, childhood nodes inherit properties of parent nodes. Relationship between bits of information explicit and support inference through inheritance. So, provides access to information means what are all the bits of information which is supposed to get a solution or get to the memory. So, in semantic memory, inheritance, child nodes inherit properties of parent nodes. So, the relationship between bits of information explicit and support inference through maintenance may be exceeded here. And in terms of semantic memory, here the dog is an animal which is sourced to collect a network from the long term memory. Here, dog barks, has tail, has four legs, and it is also hound and rack is a beagle, size small, and color is brown, black, white. And if it is a Snoopy, a friend of Charlie Brown, a cartoon black character. And a dog is also an animal which has breathes and moves real. And it is also a sheepdog, work sheep. If it is a coolie, size medium, color brown, black, or white, or instance lazy, and a shadow. So, based on this, a dog has a different types of attributes and, objectives. So, based on that, what we have reversed through our entire life, which will comes under this network. And the models in terms of frames comes under information organized in data structures. So slot structure is initiated with the value for instance of data. So for the subtype relations of dog is fixed length equal to 4, and for default it will be carnivorous and it will be barking. If it is a cool, it is a breed of dog, and it's a type of sheepdog. Default it will be 65 centimeter, variable it will be a color one. And for production rules, if a dogging is patting its tail means we have to pat the dog, and if it is growling then run away. Based on the expressions it is expressing, we have to determine our action. So in terms of storage information, rehearsal information moves from short term memory to long term memory. So, doing a short term activity regularly in a daily manner, it will become a long term memory and it will be stored in LTM. So, it's a total time hypothesis amount retained proportional to rehearsal time. So, distribution of practice effect comes under optimized by spreading learning over time, and the structure, meaning, and familiarity, information easier to remember. In the long term memory, forgetting means it means decay and interference. So, decay information is lost gradually but very slowly. In interference, new information replaces old. Retroactive information, old may interfere with new. Proactive inhibition. So, may not be forgot at all. Memory is selective, affected by emotion, can be subconsciously choose to forget. And in terms of retrieval, recall, and recognition, information reproduced from. So, in terms of LTM retrieval, information reproduced from memory can be assisted by cues. For example, if it is a imagery or categories which we can be used to retrieve it from the backtrack of the process information. And in the recognition, information gives knowledge that it has been seen before, less complex than recall. Information is cue. And in the aspect of thinking, reasoning and problem solving are the two major aspects of thinking. So in the reasoning there are three different types: deduction, induction, and abduction. So in the aspect of deductive reasoning, deduction drives logically necessary conclusion from the given premises, because we will detect the outcome of the problem we are going to take. For example, here it is given, if it is a Friday, then she will go to work. Yes, if it is a Friday, she will go to work. Otherwise, it will not be compulsory she will be go to work. But on every Sunday, we will see that she will go to work. So it will be basically a logical conclusion, not necessarily it should be true. And in the deduction, when the truth and logically validity clash, some people are babies are cry, some people cry. Yeah, we also know that some people will cry, so we will detect it, right? People bring world knowledge to bear, right? So inductive reasoning, in terms of inductive reasoning, generalize from cases seen to cause unseen and unreliable, can only prove false or not, but useful. Humans are not good at using negative evidence. For example, wasn't chords 7E4K. If a chord has an vowel on one side and it has an even number on another, is it true? How many chords do you need to even find out? So this will be a case study. And effective reasoning, reasoning from the even to cause. Sam drives fast when drunk. If Sam is driving fast, we can conclude that he must be drunk. So, in terms of problem solving, people finding solution to unfamiliar task using knowledge. So, several theories are made to conclude these theories. So, one is Gestalt theory. So, with this theory, a problem solving both productive and reproductive. So, drawing productive insights, restructuring of problem, and so the insight of an attractive but not enough evidence to explain. Move away from behaviorism and lead towards information and processing theories. Some types of problem solving theory, problem space theory. Problem space comprises problem states. So, problem solving involves generating states using legal operator. Heuristics may be employed by select operators, means end analysis. Operates within human information processing system, largely applied to problem solving in well defined areas. So, in terms of analogy, in analogical mapping, novel problems is a new domain. Use knowledge, similar problem, difficult if domains are semantically different. Skill acquisition may be categorized by chunking the information into parts so that we can optimize the information skillfully. So, conceptual rather than superficial grouping of problem, information is structured more effectively. So, in error and mental model, types of error are available. In slips, right intention but failed to do it right, causes poor physical skill in inattention, etc. Change to the aspect of skill behavior can cause slip. And in terms of mistake, wrong intention, incorrect understanding of the meaning what we are explaining. And in terms of emotion, various theories of how emotion works. James Lange, emotion is an interpretation of an psychological response to a stimuli. And through Canon, emotion is a psychological response to stimuli. So, emotion clearly involves both cognitive and physical responses to a stimuli. The biological response to physical stimuli is called affect in both ways, positive and negative. Negative affect can make it harder to do even easy task. Positive affect can make it easier to do different task. Implication for interface design. So stress will increase the difficulty of the problem solving. Relaxed user will be more forgiving of shortcomings in design. Aesthetically pleasing and rewarding interfaces increase will positive effect. So there are individual differences in terms of short term, long term, and change. In the psychological aspect of the design interactive system, some direct applications, example, blue audacity is poor. Blue should not be used for implementation. However, the correct application generally requires understanding of the context and psychology and as an understanding of the particular experimental conditions. So here we have seen what are all the interaction activity aspects of human and computer interaction.